Hi, I'm Jennifer Torres, licensed mental health therapist, registered yoga teacher, and owner of Commit to Wellness. Today, I want to talk about a mental health disorder which I specialize in that is commonly misunderstood and stigmatized: borderline personality disorder. In order to be officially diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, you have to meet at least 5 of the criteria out of the 9 traits established for borderline personality disorder. Today, I'm going to go over those 9 traits, and I encourage you to listen closely because someone you love or you yourself might fit at least 5 of these traits. Number 1, intense fear of abandonment. Number 2, patterns of unstable, intense relationships. Number 3, unstable self-image or sense of self. Number 4, impulsive, risky, or self-sabotaging behavior. Number 5, suicidal threats, behaviors, or self-harm behaviors. Number 6, wide mood swings. Number 7, chronic feelings of emptiness. Number 8, intense or inappropriate anger. Number 9, disassociation and/or periods of stress-related paranoia. Now I'm going to get a little more in detail with each one of these categories. Number 1, intense fear of abandonment. Now this is more than just your typical fear of abandonment. This can look like frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment, separation, or rejection. People with borderline personality disorder typically have a low self-esteem and are very insecure about people that they love leaving them, changing plans, or not wanting to spend time with them, even when it's not really necessary or real. Number 2, patterns of unstable, intense relationships. People with borderline personality disorder tend to cling on to at least one person who we typically call their favorite person. The thing with this is that sometimes they alternate from really putting that person up on a pedestal and idealizing them and then devaluing them. This can create quite a roller coaster for that relationship. Number 3, unstable self-image or sense of self. Sometimes people with borderline personality disorder can appear to be quite the chameleons. That's because they can quickly shift values, morals, or beliefs depending on who they're around and what they're trying to accomplish. Number 4, impulsive, risky, or self-sabotaging behavior. This can look like reckless driving, binge eating, unsafe sex, suddenly quitting a good job, or suddenly ending a healthy relationship. Number 5, suicidal threats, behaviors, or self-harm behaviors. Often, but not all the time, these behaviors are as a result of someone threatening to leave them or feeling like they are going to be left. Number 6, wide mood swings. Now, this looks different than people diagnosed with bipolar disorder in the sense that these mood swings can happen from a couple hours. So people with borderline disorder can wake up and be really happy, in a great mood, and 3 hours later shift to quite a depressive, maybe even suicidal type mood. Number 7, chronic feelings of emptiness. People with BPD often struggle with low self-worth and just feeling like they're not good enough, codependency, and insecurities. And sometimes they are constantly trying to fill a void because they just feel empty inside. Number 8, intense or inappropriate anger. Frequently losing your temper, rage, physical fighting. A lot of times the anger is just excessive to the situation. Number 9, dissociation and/or periods of stress-related paranoia. So dissociation is a loss of touch with reality temporarily. Usually this only lasts for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours at most. And a lot of times people with BPD, when they're under a lot of stress, can sometimes start to exhibit really paranoid thinking to the point where you might think that they have paranoid schizophrenia or some other disorder. But typically this is only during those intense periods of stress. Now that you understand the 9 traits, I think it is very important to also understand a couple other things about borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder, like autism, is on a spectrum. So there are your severe borderline personality disorder people that might carry all 9 traits and might be pretty intense. But there are also many high-functioning borderlines who maybe only exhibit 5 and on the less severe spectrum. So this can look very different. There is really no typical way that a borderline personality disorder person looks or acts. And even these traits, even though they're specific, can look a lot of different ways. For example, self-harming doesn't always have to be your typical, cutting yourself. It can look like really extreme, excessive exercising or starving yourself to the point of having to be hospitalized. Another thing I want to say is that although people with borderline personality disorder are often stigmatized as being very manipulative, they are not bad people. Unfortunately, most people with borderline personality disorder have been very invalidated throughout their life and also usually have some significant trauma in their history, which has caused them to maybe form some maladaptive ways of coping and thinking. But with the appropriate treatment, there definitely is hope. And I've seen people with borderline personality disorder make amazing progress and live a pretty functional life. If you or someone that you love might have borderline personality disorder and you want to know more, feel free to call me or email me and we can set you up with an appointment. I provide all of the dialectical behavioral therapy that is needed to successfully treat borderline personality disorder. Thank you for listening. Namaste.